Your original business card said your personal magic genie.
Your personal genie.
Your personal genie.
Your desire is all I require.
Today, we're going to meet a real-life magic genie. But this genie is not a big blue man who pops out of a lamp. This genie grants you wishes by helping you unlock the magic within yourself.
So you were able to read people's minds.
Yeah.
Meet David Lyon, a modern mystic who uses the power of hypnosis,
Sleep.
and subconscious reprogramming to help people overcome their deepest limiting beliefs to manifest. I've known David for about a year now and have seen him do some mind-blowing things. There's this trick that he does where he actually moves cards without touching them. Like, he moves them with his mind. And I've seen him do this trick up close and personal.
Yeah, a lot of magicians do that. David Blaine is famous for doing that. I believe David Copperfield also did that, and a couple of other well-known magicians. So that would just be a magic trick. But let's see what she has to say.
A few times now, and I cannot for the life of me figure out how he does this.
How do you do that trick?
I do it very well.
You do.
So I'm about to spend the day with David to see if he can help me manifest 3 wishes.
2 wishes? How did that even happen?
We'll dive into his unique approach, experience some mind-blowing hypnosis sessions,
Closer.
and discover how powerful our minds truly are. And we're going to see if this real-life genie can actually grant my 3 wishes.
This type of magic is the genie effect.
I've been looking forward to this for a while. To sit down with you, real life genie, and get in that brain.
So I've been clairvoyant my whole entire life, but I didn't know it until I was 25. You know, my upbringing, I was always really obsessed with magic. You know, for me, Michael Jackson was my first experience of magic. Just the feeling he was able to exude was the feeling of magic. I was always able to see things that people couldn't see and hear things that people couldn't hear. I would experience this double talk with people where, you know, people would come up to me and be like, you know, what are you doing there, David? But I would hear their mind say, what's wrong with you, David? Because I was a little bit of a weird kid. But I couldn't understand what was happening. I couldn't understand that double talk experience. I didn't know that it was unique of me to be picking up on the subtle vibrations of people's thoughts.
So you were able to read people's minds, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Yeah, so there's no such thing as reading people's minds. That basically is just evil putting bad thoughts in your mind or thoughts that are just not true. If you read the Bible, you'll actually learn that um, you should not believe your thoughts generally because they can deceive you. Um, there are several places in the Bible where it talks about the handing over your thoughts, taking them into captivity and handing them over to God because they don't belong to you in the first place. That's why a lot of people get, you know, anxiety and depression. Um, oh, I'm not saying every case. I guess some cases are physical. Maybe something biochemically in your body is not right, and it's causing you to have a nervous system problem, which maybe results in anxiety or depression. But for the most part, especially in the world today, where we live in a crazy world with social media and just short attention spans, a lot going on. There's a lot of things from our environment, electromagnetically or whatever, that definitely contribute to that. But for the most part, your thoughts are what cause people to have anxiety and depression. It's because they dwell on these things that they should not dwell on. They're thinking on things that are most likely not true. Um, if you take like somebody who has chronic anxiety, which is probably half of the millennials today, if you take like a case study of them and ask them, out of all the thoughts in a day that you have, besides, like what should I eat, and then actually eating that thing. Um, if you take all the thoughts that come into your mind and you actually evaluate them at the end of the day, like write them all down, evaluate them at the end of the day, how many of them actually came true? And you'll probably find that 9 out of 10, maybe even more than that, do not come true. So a lot of times people dwell in the what if and in these spaces in their mind where they're thinking something's going to happen, or they're thinking someone is thinking something, which is really ironic. Like you're thinking, what that person's thinking. Okay, I mean maybe you do, but I doubt it. And they're actually believing that. And then a lot of times people will get into situations where they could have sworn that person was thinking that thing, and it turned out to not be that. And they already acted on that thought that got them into a lot of trouble. This happens all the time with people. A lot of times people go to prison because they just think something is true that's not, or they believe into a lie that they did not know wasn't true until after the fact, and it's too late. They already committed the action. So right away, um, not sure if this is a gimmick, if he's doing this because he's trying to, get attention and views and followings on social media. Totally understand. That's his angle. He's trying to go about building his brand this way, and his audience. So I understand from a business aspect, that's the character he's playing. It's similar to, somebody who is an actor in a movie or on a show where they're playing somebody that they're not really in real life, but they get a lot of people who become fans of their work and then ultimately become fans of them. But that real person in real life is totally different than the character that they're portraying. So a lot of times I think this stuff happens on social media too, especially today when people are so, much more technologically advanced than we used to be. Things are so much easier. They're more at our fingertips. And, we've learned, especially the millennials, we've grown up in the entertainment culture. We've learned from watching TV shows and movies and video games and all these abundance of entertainment that have kind of shaped the way we think. So part of me thinks that maybe this is a character he's playing in order to, you know, uh, get a larger audience. But if it's not, then I think it's safe to say, based on just biblical principle, that he's being misled by the wrong side. And that's just my take on it so far. But let's continue.
When did the magic that exists within hypnosis and rewiring the brain, when did that start coming? Because that's a whole other level of mastery that you now have developed.
It was in 2008. At that point in my life, I had already had a professional career as a street magician. I was extremely skeptical, especially because as an illusionist, you're taught how to mimic psychic ability and things like that through trickery. It was like a seminar training with myself and about 30 other magicians, and 2 of the students just so happened to be master hypnotists. It was a father and son. The son was 12 years old, looking like a little Bruce.
So this is kind of building on his character, that if he is portraying a character online, he's doing it. Well, he's been motivated by a certain way of his upbringing, his life, his experiences, and that's what I'm gathering so far, is that he's was inspired by. First, he admitted that uh, you know these illusions, like these things are illusions, these magic tricks, they're not real, but they're meant to look real. um, so that kind of kicked off his interest, piqued his interest, and then he went down this road. So maybe it is just a character he's playing to, like I said, build an audience online. um, but it's interesting.
Looking kid, and they had the ability to hypnotize anyone in less than a second. They then taught us their secret technique, and for whatever reason it just came so naturally to me. Like everyone who I would go up to on the first try, I would do the technique and they would drop into a trance, but I couldn't understand for the life of me why it was working. So my curiosity with wanting to understand the why of hypnosis is what became my obsession and the reason.
So I've seen this a lot with you know, magicians and people, hypnotists, people of persuasion. Um, I was a big fan my whole life of that stuff because I just always found it very interesting. The way my brain works is I love trying to solve problems and figure things out. So when a magician would do a trick, I would try and figure out how they did it, and I would keep messing around with, coming up with the way that they did it. And sometimes I would actually figure out a new way to do it, but I couldn't figure out how they did it. So I just always found that interesting. Love David Blaine. Love a lot of these interesting characters. I'm not saying that they're good people or that they're biblically correct people, um, even that they're right with God. But I do find what they do interesting in a sense, and I'm mostly talking about the card tricks and stuff like that. I'm not talking about anything that would require demonic possession. But uh, yeah, it's just it's very interesting that people get into this stuff. But when I see them say he hypnotized people immediately right away, I find that funny. Not because I'm saying that he's lying, but because typically they'll say, "Oh, if you're really smart, you're easier to be hypnotized than if you're not." I'm not sure how true that is, and I don't even think it's provable. You could maybe do a case study on IQ, but I just don't know if what entails intelligent in this sense. Um, but I feel like the people who want to be hypnotized, their subconscious is giving into it because they actually are kind of curious. They want to know, they want to go down this journey. And if I was younger and wasn't spiritually where I am today, I might even, be like, oh, cool, this is interesting. I kind of want to see if he can get me or if, but the back of my mind, if I was willing to accept it subconsciously, I think that I would go along with that. So I'm not saying that it can't be done to people who are, strong-willed or not interested in that, but I think you have to subconsciously accept it at some place in your brain, in your mind, in order for it to actually work on you.
Why I got as good as I got.
So you said when we were preparing for this video that, you will be my personal genie for the day and that you will be able to help grant me 3 wishes. I was very excited. My inner child who loves Aladdin is like, oh.
Well, do you want to start with telling me what?
And so that's another thing that I was just saying before about how the culture the millennials grew up with shaped us. There's so much mysticism and magic and genies and all this like witchcraft or witchcraft adjacent um, sprinkled into the culture growing up. It's in so many things: movies, TV shows, books. I mean, everything you could imagine. One of the biggest books of all time. Um, was, especially from a fiction standpoint, was the Harry Potter series. I think it grossed over $1 billion, which is ridiculous for a book. Books usually don't make that much money ever, at least not for the last 50 years. But it definitely hit with a few series, and that was one of them. Um, I mean, it became a huge cultural phenomenon where it's more than just books now, movies, rides in Disney World, things like that. But you know, that was littered with mysticism, magic, witchcraft, all that stuff. But it was delivered in such a way where, as a child, you might look at that and say, "Oh, cool! I want to do that." I even saw back in the day when that stuff was happening and those books were coming out, little kids were, playing with magic sets or getting magic wands and saying the words that they read in Harry Potter to cast spells. And it might not be the exact same words, but some of those words are definitely um, actual words for spells that real witches and people in that life use. So we've been so shaped as a culture that we, uh, found all this stuff so interesting and entertaining. We became like an open vessel to it. We were more susceptible to accept it, and that's where this stuff leads. You become a grown adult, and now you're a quote unquote genie, So um, entertainment and media definitely plays a big role and has a powerful um, is a powerful force that can be used for or against your children and you really have to parent them the right way to block a lot of that out in this life.
Your deepest desire and wishes?
I think so. Having
Wawa's new personal pizza is here for dinner, starting at 4 p.m. Make a Wawa run on the way home any night and enjoy the savory pepperoni and melty cheese on golden crust all to yourself. Personal pizzas are here, just $6.99 each.
experience shame and guilt around my desires. I'm just in a state where I am learning how to embrace my desires, knowing that they can be pure and divine.
One of the things that we'll show you today is that you are your desires. You know, anytime you want something, you become it first.
One thing I always wanted, I just wish that I was like an epic dancer. Like the girls at Millennium, like the hip hop dancers, like they're so good. I'm just
That's such a good point that he made. You are your desires. Um, it's funny because you actually can be your desires. And again, going back to, you know, biblical principle, um, the Bible is clear on this. Those are called false idols. When you worship something that is other than God. So if you want something really bad, um, I'm not saying you can't want for things and actually take the steps to achieve them or, whatever, acquire those things. But if you obsess over it, um, you're probably making it your God. You're probably making it a false idol in your life. And you're desiring after it so much that you're probably sacrificing things along the way in order to attain that thing. And a lot of times you think it's worth it in the moment, but it ends up not being worth it in the end. So always make sure that you're not, um, worshiping false idols. And false idols, I think people think they just mean gods. No, no, it's anything that gets in the way of God being the center of your life. So it could be money, fame, fun, partying, having a good time. It could be anything. It could literally even be your dog. If you have a dog and you're obsessed with the dog, like a lot of people in culture today, they dress the dog up, they put him in little outfits, and then on Halloween, they put him in a costume, and they put him in these little strollers and wheel him around like it's their baby. They don't know this. Maybe they do, but probably they don't. They're making that dog a false idol to them. They're making it their god. And if anything were to happen to that dog, they would freak out. I even saw something on the news once where somebody kidnapped a woman's dog, and she actually jumped on their car uh, while they were driving and speeding off to try and save her dog. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand trying to save something that's yours because that's yours and somebody stole it from you, and stealing is a sin, but it's not worth your human life. But to some people, it is because that thing is their God.
I wish I could do that. I wish I could move my body like that. I wish I could do choreo like that. Like, how do they do that? I want it. Another thing I really deeply want is I really wish I could freestyle rap. And I've played around with it, and like, I'm not very good. It's just something that I'm like, I just want to be able to express in that way. And then I have a wish around manifesting finance. My audience knows that I've been working with that for a while. It's been like my deepest rooted block, yet I feel like this massive shift around it. The 3 tangible wishes are being epic.
So those were actually pretty reasonable, quote unquote, wishes. I would say they're more desires than anything. You want to be able to dance really well, you want to be able to rap or sing really well, and you want to be able to make money. Well, that's funny because a lot of people who are in the entertainment industry, they sing, they dance, and they make money doing so. So you can actually combine all 3 of those things and achieve them all in one career choice. But there's nothing wrong with those specific desires. Uh, it's just a matter of, are you actually actively taking steps to get there and achieve those goals, or are you just desiring for them? Because there's a difference on how they'll affect your life. Um, if you want to be a great dancer, dance every day, work on it, take training, take courses with instructors, whatever it is, join a dance group. Um, if you want to rap, same thing. Join a group, work on it, partner with people who are doing that and maybe can teach you their tricks. And financial abundance. Work hard every day of your life, work smart, figure out strategies to make and increase your wealth, and you can achieve that. But as long as you're never letting that get in the way of God in your life, um, I don't see anything wrong with those wishes, as she says. It just depends on how she's actually trying to achieve them.
Big dancer, freestyle rapping, and like $100,000 or something like that.
100,000.
What I'm doing, and it helps that I'm clairvoyant, so I could see the deeper things that the person doesn't even know is there. So they might think the problem is this, but as they're talking about it, I'll see all the deeper things and be like, okay, that's actually the thing. So the two main things I heard there are safety, that one was really clear, and unleashed expression. Because the money thing is very simple. We can
Yeah.
do, that's aligned action.
Yeah.
But in order for you to even take those aligned actions, you have to feel unleashed in your expression.
Yeah.
And in order for you to feel unleashed in your expression, you have to feel safe.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go out. Let's go out into the big worlds, the grand playa.
All right, cool.
Let's go.
do it.
How did we get on this magic carpet?
Oh, he's going
Just
all
like
in
that.
with it.
So welcome to my world, Sky.
Thanks for having me.
So he's not only calling himself a genie, he's actually got the magic carpet. All right, let's see where this goes.
Before we get to your wishes, just actually want to play with you a little bit. For this type of magic, it's important to tune into the divine child. The divine child is the God within. So you ready to play a little bit?
Yes.
For me, it just feels like a game, right?
See, that's another telltale for me. Listen, we use different things to call God, or in many other ways, language to explain who he is. But the devil is very good at tricking people with um, getting very close to biblically accurate, but then veering off to the left real quick. So they say things like divine child within God, whatever. And, the Bible does talk about God is within us, the Holy Spirit living within us. Us having a childlike mindset and way about us, it will be the best way to enter into heaven, obviously through Jesus. But, in order to enter into the kingdom, you have to be like a child. That's what it says in the Bible. And, so they basically use the same language, but it feels like it's not coming from God. It's coming from a different place. So I'm not judging ahead of time. I'm just observing that that's what it sounds like. So let's see where this goes.
Playing my way to aligning you with the frequency of your desires. And I never know how they're going to manifest. I just know how to do that part. I had you go through a bit of a hypnotic process with me. Feel this. Brought you into my world, got you into the trance state, and once I saw that you were responding in the way that I needed you to bring you deeper,
So that's interesting. Something I took away from that was he had her start with kind of like a semi-trust fall, where she would lean back, forward, and backward on his hands and rely solely on that to hold her up. Um, that to me is a great way to break someone down into trusting you so that whatever follows next, you already built up that trust for them in your mind subconsciously, maybe consciously too, but subconsciously definitely. So maybe it's easier to accept the hypnotism that follows. Interesting.
said the word sleep, and sleep all the way down, completely letting go. You went out, I got you to experience some hypnotic phenomena just so you could see the reality of it. And from there, now the unconscious mind, or what I like to call the divine child, is listening very attentively to any instruction or suggestion I give it. Close your eyes. And once you feel like your eyes are so comfortable, so stuck that they simply will not open, I want you to go ahead and try and open those eyes and notice how that feels. The more you try, the more they stick. It's an interesting feeling. And only once you say the words, "I'm satisfied," will your eyes pop open.
I'm satisfied. Whoa.
And what I'm doing here is I'm just engaging.
Yeah, there's so much going on here. So another thing I noticed now that we've got a couple of close-up shots, he has a pendant on his neck. That's got to be something mystical. But I did notice she has these. I think they're called ankhs. They're like these crosses that go into a loop at the top, um, and I believe that's a pagan symbol to kind of negate Christianity. You know, it sort of defames the cross, right? The symbol of the cross. I'd have to relook into that. I remember learning about that years ago, but I don't remember exactly what its purposing and message it was. But I believe it's called the Ankhs. I'm not sure. Um, and I did notice that she, was I don't know if she was pretending, she probably really believed it, but she was struggling with opening her eyes. Such a simple, involuntary task that we can do. But it just goes to show you the power of the mind, right? So if she can be convinced of this, such a simple task to sort of take control over her own autonomous body, right? Like you don't even think about how many times you blink and open in your eyes every single day. And she had somebody mentally convince her to stop that, to not be able to open her eyes when she wanted to, allegedly. Um, but if you can be hypnotized into that, you can be hypnotized into solving a lot of your problems, overcoming a lot of obstacles in your life, and not even just hypnotized. You can train your own brain into uh, thinking in a different way, where you're not negative minded. You're not always dwelling on the what if and the bad things in life, but instead flip it and focus more on the positive. So I don't know if she's playing along with this for the video, for the sake of the video, because she's trying to, maybe not, you know, maybe make this work out the way that he claims it will, so that her video seems legit. I don't know if that's what she's doing. No judgment here, but I do find it very interesting.
Engaging with your divine child within, the part of us that likes to play. And this is the Genie effect. I want you to remember your first wish of even just feeling safe in your desires. Take a deep breath in, sleep all the way down, completely letting go. What I want you to do is go up to that feeling, those colors in your heart center, the blue, the green, and turn it up even more. Make those colors stronger, and then start to guide it down into the lower stomach. Notice from this space what it's like when you let yourself on the inside own and express your desires. There you go. You are the liberation of your soul. You are the expression of your highest desires. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 5. Eyes open, wide awake. How you feel?
Yeah,
Stand up with me.
yeah, I'm not really sure what that was. If that's just an act that goes with her, videos in order to sell the topic that she's promoting in that episode. Uh, but that could have also been totally perceived as like a demonic possession in that moment. Um, Not saying that she's, possessed and needs an exorcist. I'm just saying in that moment, it looked like if that was legitimate, it could have been like an evil spirit inhabiting her vessel, her body. Maybe she doesn't even know it. So that's interesting.
Notice what you feel now and tell me about it.
I just feel like energy moving through my body and in this space. It's just like flowing. It's just like I can't contain it. I can't.
Stronger.
Oh, now he wants to
Into
do
a
the
leashed
master dance.
expression.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
And all the way, letting it all the way in. All the way in.
All right, so it's getting a little weird, but um, I definitely, again, my mind goes to, is this just an act from the two of them that are trying to get views to sell that this thing, um, you know, the topic of the episode is actually legitimate, it works, and people maybe like and follow and all that stuff. or is this a legitimate demonic possession? Which is so interesting if like people are actually filming them being demonically possessed on camera and then uploading it to the internet for the whole world to see. Like, that is crazy. I mean, that could also be a blessing in disguise, because that's maybe God's way of using the new technology, the social media, to show the world the stuff that used to only be talked about in the Bible and books and things like that. There are tons of examples in the Bible of people who were demonically possessed, many in which were talked about in the New Testament when Jesus had walked the earth, and how he had, helped those people get rid of the demons in them by casting them out in his name, of course. But yeah, this is just so interesting. I mean, if it's not fake and it's real, it's not good. It's not good. So I guess there are also, it's like, oh, okay, you want to be a great dancer? No problem. Do this hypnotism thing, and I'll hypnotize you into being a good dancer. Well, you have to think about that logically, right? If a person does not know a skill, they never learned it, how could you all of a sudden know how to do that thing unless you've acquired the knowledge in some way? Now, dancing is probably very easy because I'm sure it's rooted in all of us to just naturally be able to dance. Is rhythm, you hear the music, the beat, whatever, you're able to move your body to that frequency. So that could be something that doesn't have to be learned. Maybe you just need to break out of your shell, and then you can all of a sudden dance well. But let's say something that you don't know how to do. You can't just all of a sudden do it because you manifested positive feelings or whatever that is, and now all of a sudden you what acquire the knowledge. How did you do that? How did you acquire? How did you download the knowledge? Right? Clearly, it's coming from something else inhabiting your vessel, inhabiting your body, and making you do those things. And if it's not, then you can, going forward every day now, all of a sudden dance. Like, you know how to dance. That's it. You learned it by manifesting, and now you can dance every day. If she can't dance every day going forward, then this moment, which we're watching on video, was likely demonic possession. And that's it's crazy to be on camera.
I feel like hot. Like,
And it's pretty chilly out here. Let it go. Let it unleash.
this is insane.
Yeah, this is a little strange. But more along
I just had to dance because it felt so good. You didn't tell me to dance, and also you didn't actually tell me what we were doing at all. So I didn't even know, okay, we're gonna do the first wish now, but it's just like the energy, I could not contain my body from dancing and expressing.
Hypnosis is kind of like a key that allows us to access the supercomputer of our subconscious and very instantly change beliefs. And this is why it works for things like phobias or traumas or anything, because you can't feel a feeling without first having a belief about it. It's usually alleviating the tension around the heart. And so I have ways of alleviating that so that then when you liberate the heart, it automatically rewires the mind. When I clap my hands, you're just gonna pause and feel all the liberation inside of you and soak it in now. Double that feeling. Receive the blue, the green, letting yourself remember.
All right, that's just about enough I can handle. Really strange. Like, again, I'm not sure if this is an act for her to, boost her channel and convince people to, really buy into everything that she's doing here, the topics that she's, talking about on her channel. And I'm not judging her. I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe they are both working together, going into this as uh, a team, saying that this is what we're going to do in this episode, and this is how we're going to, basically create this content. Um, like actors who get on set and they have a pre-rehearsed script and scene that they're going through. I don't know if that's what's going on here, but it's very, very interesting. If this is all legitimate and true, Again, it's easy to see things on the internet and just automatically buy into it. A lot of people do that today in so many facets. You know, they'll do it with things like this. They'll do it with politics on both sides, where they'll just see something and blindly believe it without actually doing the research and figuring out if that is actually true or if there's more to this story that's maybe not being spoken of here. But I just kind of take it as I see it. I don't really know all the details. I don't know if all of this is legitimate, an act or whatever, but it's very, very strange. Um, I guess this is the type of stuff that people are doing on the internet today. You know, it seems very new age, but it's funny they call it new age. It's the same old evil demonic stuff that they just put a new name and spin on it to sell it to the younger generations today. But it's very strange, and you know, there's no such thing as you know, genies or any of these things. This guy can't grant her wishes. This is not Aladdin. It's not a Disney movie, but he could probably sell many people on that he can do those things, or that he can coach you into doing those things by manifesting, you know, the things that you want. Um, I'm always very leery of this stuff. I just say tread softly. You know, if somebody tells you they can, you know, sell you something that you can't touch, see, feel, whatever, just be leery of it. Maybe just do your research and find out uh, if that's possible, how they can do that, and is it also worth it too. Um, but yeah, this is very, very interesting to see the type of stuff people are doing on the internet today.